मंचासीन आदरणीय डॉक्टर सहस्रबुद्धि जी, मिस्टर पारुल, मिस्टर आशीष, मिस्टर मुकेश, मिस्टर कैलाशनाथ ji, Mr. Ajay, who is here, I don't know if he has left, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, I consider it as a privilege to be here with you. And at the outset, I would like to compliment and congratulate Governance Now for bringing all of us together here. About 3 months back, Mr. Ajay Singh, he was with Governance Now, he met me and we were talking about all that we have been doing. So he suggested that we want to have a conference on CSR. So I thought I will avail the opportunity and I suggested that we should make CSR for inclusive development. So I am grateful that not only they have considered my suggestion, also they have given me this opportunity to share my ideas with very distinguished persons on the dais and also those of you who are in the audience. Friends, I put in about 35 years of public service in different capacities, and I had some interest in CSR. As Saraswati was mentioning, we do job, and every job need hard work, discipline, merit, all those things. But some job require little bit of passion and compassion. So CSR is a field where it needs more of passion and compassion, other things remaining same. So I had to, in fact, along with my other job, I have undertaken this thing and I had a publication in 2008, but I consistently on day-to-day basis follow up what is happening. So I will very quickly go through some of these slides I quickly made, and if you have any point you can just also stop me and ask. Friends, we are talking about this, corporate social responsibility has been mentioned by the other panelists. It's basically 3 words. We talk of corporate, we talk of society, and we talk of responsibility of the corporate towards the society. I am not going to repeat those things. I will better concentrate on the other 2 words, that is inclusive development. All of us talk about development. What is development? UNDP has defined that development is enlarging the choices. A person has only 1 cert, a person has 10 certs. The person who has 10 certs, he has the choice of putting any of the 10 certs any of the days. So we tell that the person having 10 certs is more developed than the person having 1 cert. These days we talk of politics, there are different forms of government, and the best form of government, the most developed form of governance is nothing but democracy. Because people have the choice, every 5 years they go to poll and they decide who run the country or the state for the next 5 years. So in that scheme of things, when you talk of development, now all world over, the main thing has come, we talk of development, but is the development process sustainable? So when we talk of sustainability of development, there are 2 basic areas of concern. One area of concerns relating to the environment, the pollution, the carbon emission, global warming. Recently these were discussed, and almost every day something or other come. All of us are in Delhi are feeling the heat of it, like the high carbon dioxide and the global warming, all these things. Winter is becoming shorter, monsoon is becoming erratic. It is affecting everybody, but it is affecting poor more than the rich. So these are aspects relating to environmental degradation which requires to be looked into for making the development process sustainable. The other aspect relates to the social exclusion, that is the rich-poor divide. You see, we are all growing, but there is something called jobless growth. We are talking about Wi-Fi and other things, but there are many people in the country who do not have access to the basic facilities. Friends, these things, the aspect of social exclusion is something which is more difficult, and environmental degradation takes time. It is relatively a longer term, whereas social exclusion affects on a day-to-day basis. What has happened? In the last 7-8 decades of after independence, there has been a sea change. There is education, there is literacy, and most important thing is the impact of media. Today's youth, the expectation of the youth is expanding very fast. the opportunities are also expanding, but the opportunity expansion is much lower than the expansion in expectation. Today's youth, you talk of any part of the country, everybody because of the electronic media wants to have everything. So we are in a situation where there is a virtual explosion of human expectations. Human expectation is going up at geometric rate, whereas the opportunity is increasing at a arithmetic rate progression. So when you have expectation and you don't have opportunity, then there is frustration. And frustration is leading to anger, and anger is leading to violence. So my study in the personal capacity and also in the government, if there is insurgency in the northeast, if certain part of the Deccan Plateau is suffering from left-wing extremist activities, if there is violence on very smallest thing, people get agitated and burn buses and other things, it is largely because of the fact that there is huge expectation and our system is not able to deliver, and the delivery that is there at a much slower rate. So if we want to have it a sustainable development, we need to address both the issues, that is the environmental degradation and also the social exclusion. And in this context, it comes the role of corporate. It has been mentioned earlier that corporate is there basically to take money from the shareholder, invest the money, do business, make profit, declare dividend. That is all okay. But there is a considered thinking that corporate just cannot remain a silent spectator what is going around them. There is a famous saying that the corporate cannot prosper in a society that is failing, because corporate are basically created by the society and they have to take care of the need of the society. So in a developing country like India, it is more important, because you see in a developed country already the infrastructure is there. You talk of power supply, you talk of road, you talk of Wi-Fi, you go to USA, you go to Japan, because of variety of factors. And I think again, the most important thing we should never forget that India is holding 1/6 of the total population, 1.25 billion. But our access to natural resources is only 1/16 of the natural resources. So the challenge is how with 1/16 of the natural resource, you try to meet expectation of 1/6 of the population. It is very easier said than done. That is where the crux lies. And in the process, unless we look into the social exclusion, unless we look into the environmental degradation, no corporate can flourish, because the society which is failing, the corporate cannot prosper there. So if we see the context of a developing country, that is our India, you please see here there is some corporate philanthropy etc. is nothing new. Right from the during independence struggle also, many corporate at great risk to the foreign rulers have supported the cause of freedom struggle. That is nothing but corporate philanthropy, this thing. So this has been increasing, but let us discuss that what it is today. Here we see, if we see between 2009 and 2013, you can see that the amount of money and the importance attached to philanthropic activities that has been increasing. What is the most important thing in the Indian context is a watershed, that is the amendment to a Companies Act 2013, which was also mentioned by my co-panelists, and insertion of section 135, where it was indicated that certain group of companies, those having net worth exceeding 500 crores, turnover exceeding 1000 crores, profit exceeding 500 crore, or either of the three, they are mandated to spend 2% of their profit on the CSR activities. On what item? That is also listed in the Schedule 7. And it is estimated, there are various number of estimates, but I think the estimate that I put my hand on indicate that about 6,000 companies will contribute about 18,000 crores in a year. That is the type of thing estimate. Other estimate also there, like one of you mentioned about the PwC estimate. Let us not worry so much about the money. Let us see how it is going to be spent. So friends, now when I was coming for today's discussion, I lay my hand on Economic Times. Incidentally, in Economic Times on the front page, there is a story on CSR. And here they have indicated the top 5 CSR companies, the bottom CSR companies, and how exactly they are performed. Like companies like Reliance, as per this story, has spent about 3.4% of their profit on CSR. Like others, Infosys, ITC have just made 2%. NTPC and ONGC are 1.5%. But I see the other side. You know, like Idea Cellular, for example, as per this report, the expenditure on CSR is 0. Whereas Hero Motors, Punjab National Bank is 0.1%. Kotak Mahindra and UPM is 0.7%. This is today's news. It is there in the Economic Times, fast pace. We had in fact a small study, and we find that about 100 companies that we have quickly made an analysis. Here you see they are spending the money on education. Reliance, Shivnada School, T10, DLF, ITC and Bharti Foundation. They are spending on health and sanitation. Tata Steel, Hindalco, GlaxoSmithKline, GAIL, L&T, Infosys, NBCC. And they are also spending on the skill development and livelihood. They providing the skill and other part of it so that they get a livelihood. I believe we are discussing those things at great length, so I am not going into details into these things. We made a small analysis that like I am in the textile sector, how companies are leveraging the CSR in the CSR sector. It is very encouraging that mostly they have tried to target the apparel and garment sector, which provide the largest employment for unit investment, and they are providing skilling of the people, and they are taking advantage of this thing. So what I do, friends, in this particular background, if we go to the next thing, that we have money, but how exactly we are going to achieve this thing, how we are going to make it a difference. And we have to look into new ideas. So I just show you a small clipping. Friends, the challenges that we are having today, it is too big. If you go by the Constitution, the Director's Principle of State Policy clearly indicate that looking after the poor, looking after the disabled, which my friend Mukesh mentioned at great length, is the responsibility of the government. And government is doing. But we have to address that what the corporate should do. We are the biggest democracy in the world. And I mentioned about the constraint of resources. Government is doing something, but people's expectation is much higher than what government is doing. So we have to carve out the place and the action plan of the corporate that how they leverage CSR to make this rate, to make this development process much faster. You see, when we talk of, nutrition, we talk of health, corporate responsibility, CSR, we are telling X amount of money, 18,000 crore. But mind you, the amount of money government is paying is phenomenal. Much higher than we can think of under the CSR thing. So my view is that corporate का जो सबसे बड़ा important point है, corporate social responsibility according to me, the single most important thing is not 2%. Single most important thing is that each and every corporate must follow laws of the land. According to me, if a corporate is fudging its account like Satyam, if a corporate is engaging child labor, if a corporate is manipulating record for showing compliance with the environment law without actually doing it, cannot be made socially responsible by putting 2% or making a temple. The first and foremost point is that every corporation must follow the laws of the land in true letter and spirit. Second point again is that corporate need not spend money, just empower the people, expand the business, give scope. And in that process, you can make the growth much more inclusive than putting this 2% thing. So having said so, the first point is not negotiable, that is you must follow the laws of the land. Second point is that we must create a win-win situation. There are a number of examples, because paucity of time I am not going into that. For example, I thought ITC was e-chopper. You create business. In the process, the farmers are able to sell their product at a better price. You make business, you make profit, but at the same time, you also make, the poor people, the marginalized people, the disadvantaged people, they also get access to market. I think that is the most important thing in the context of responsibility of the corporate towards the society. Now, having said so, so far as CSR is concerned, and I must do justice to this particular panel, I particularly feel that two most important things that the corporate can do. One point is the last mile connectivity. You see, we have made a road with government money, but in that road, either end, the two ends are not joined. So the road is not being used. The best example, there is so much of discussion about AIT, and also all of you are aware. In the tribal areas, we have given computer, government has given computer, but you find that computer is not working. Why? Power supply is not there, the maintenance contract is not there, the teacher is not there, or the software is not trained. Why can't we think that CSR adopt 100 schools? In fact, it is happening. And in those 100 schools, you provide the last mile connectivity. You need not set up school, you need not purchase computers, but you make the available computer, available facilities operational. So that is the concept of last mile connectivity. And the other aspect, very important aspect is corporate volunteerism. Corporate, where it was also mentioned, the biggest strength of the corporate is their managerial ability. They know how to manage resource, how to make profit. So you have got large number of young people. Why don't you give sabbatical to your employees? That a group of 100 to 200 young employees, give them 1 month leave, let them go to Korapur, let them go to Bastar, let them go to other district, work with the tribal, they are our people. Government schemes are there. We have to make them aware and we have to take them forward. And for doing all these things, I think what is again most important has been mentioned by almost everybody. I think Mr. Parul mentioned change of mindset, Mr. Ashish also mentioned, Mukesh also mentioned the mental barrier. So I think the change in mindset is the most important thing. And I will again just to a small clipping and end with my discussion here. So here, what is most important is the ability to work together and to empower people in the real sense. Friends, these are two pictures which is self-explanatory. Somebody is going in the summer on a Delhi road, and what our friend mentioned in disability, a child, a girl child, a crippled child, she has come. What we feel? We just roll down the shutter and drop a coin, and we feel that our job is over. That is what is philanthropy or charity. But you see on the other side. On the other side is Tejaswini CSR intervention of Tata Steel, where they have enabled this tribal lady to run a huge earth moving machines. That is what is the empowerment in the true sense. So we should more look into empowering the people by giving them skill, etc., rather than one dose approach type of thing. We talk of many things. This is from our mythology. Ramayana, when it was made, we talk of big things. We made 100 schools, 200 schools, this thing. Number is not important. And the concept comes from Ramayana. When the Ram Setu was made, I think maybe youngsters would be of interest to you that the story is that the monkeys, they lifted the stone, somebody touches it so that it doesn't sink, it floats. So the monkeys were trying to bring the stone and it is being touched and it is float to make the setu. So the small squirrels, they came and they found something interesting is happening. So they cannot use stones. So what the squirrel do? They got dipped in the sea and then rolled over the sand and shook the excess sand on the stones. So the Lord was so pleased that he patted the back, and that is how it is told that the squirrel got the stripes. So friends, we are talking about the society, we are talking about our own people, we are talking about our own country. So let it be small, but it should be meaningful. It is the spirit of working together that matters in the entire exercise. And this is what is my last slide. This is two lines in Oriya. Here it is, Oriya is my mother tongue. It is written that Andhara boli koronahi gulo dipatiye diya jali jaliwa tahiru sahasra dipali andhakara jiva chali. In this room, suppose there is darkness, and all of us shout that there is darkness. Darkness is not going to be over. But if each one of us light a small candle, from one candle, 1,000 candles will glow, and the darkness will go out. So that is the spirit. It is this ability to work together, the synergy of action, that is important. And incidentally, in this first page, what we talk of NGO, we talk of the corporate, we talk of government. So it is written that Binit Nair, chairman of Sampark Foundation, and former chief executive of HSCL Technology has said, in the context of CSR as it happens today, there is also ongoing tension between companies and NGOs. So that is this particular line is addressed for them. That let's not have too much of discussion. Straight away let us get into action together. And I think CSR is extremely important for our country, and we all of us together can take this thing forward. And in this context, while I worked in the previous capacity, I wrote a book. In fact, that is very of interest to you. That book is, it is mentioned key. This book, is on positive thinking and team building, and this is titled as Making 1 + 1 11. You see, 1 + 1 will always become 2. We don't need any intervention for that. What we need today, our country need today, is 1 + 1 should be made 11, and that is possible only if we insist on 3 things. First is positive mindset and attitude. Second thing is the ability to work in a team, and third thing is use of appropriate technology. I am sure that this particular August gathering and will give us ideas, because we mentioned about the many of you have read about social capital. In a democracy, social capital is extremely important, and that is what on a civil society like governance now has brought us together, and I hope it will generate social capital for taking the cause further and enabling us to make the development process sustainable. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Namaskar.